Computer. Well, hello there. Welcome to the High Vibe Tribe TV. Today I have another riveting episode. I have Miss Sarah Jackson, who does not want to be seen, but she was in what was it called? The Stargate Project?
Stargate Project, yes, sir.
The Stargate Project. And let's see, I was just reading about it on Wikipedia. It says it was a secret U.S. Army unit established in 1977 at Fort Meade, Maryland, by the Defense Intelligence Agency and the Stanford Research Institute to investigate the potential for psychic phenomena in military and domestic intelligence applications. The project and its precursors and sister projects originally went by various code names, including Gondola Wish, Grill Flame, and Center Lane under INSCOM. Sun
INSCOM.
INSCOM,
INSCOM, yes, sir.
INSCOM, Sunstreak and Star Code under the DIA, Stargate and Scanate under the CIA, and Project CF until 1991 when they were consolidated and renamed as the Stargate Project. And as it says here, the work primarily involved remote viewing and psychic abilities, and it was allegedly created to keep up with the Soviet Union that was developing uh, psychic psychic warriors, I guess would be the right
Yeah,
term.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um,
And yes, sir, that's exactly what they will tell you about what they did. Um, let's start at the beginning.
yes,
I
please do.
was born on 60 acres in West Tennessee. Okay. When I was born, the amniotic fluid was over my face, and they call this a mermaid birth or being a call bearer where the call is over your face. Okay. And this happening is one in 80,000 births. Now that is less because we have hospitals and, technology and this, that, and the other, and they go in and they break the sack before it has a chance. Okay. One in 80,000 births. This comes with so much folklore. It is fantastic. Okay. Right now, I'm going to tell you three different approaches to being this call bearer. The first one I'm going to talk about is uh, the mermaid birth. So these pieces of the call were so highly prized that they would sell them for really high prices to sailors to keep them from drowning. And they would keep it on their person or wear it around their neck as a talisman. They really believe this would keep them from drowning. Supposedly, the call bearers, just them being themselves, are immune to drowning. Okay, that's one story. Another story, in the Friuli, yes, Friuli area of Italy, um, there were these call bearers that were in a cult, supposed cult, uh, and it was a fertility cult. And on the nights of the embers, which were harvest times, they would astral travel and fight evil witches for the prosperity of their harvests. Okay, that's another one of the folklore. Now, the third folklore is from Romania, and they call us Strigoi Viu, and this means the living witch or the living vampire. We are monsters. We live on the edge of society. We are not to be messed with. They think that we cause anything from fires in the community to sickness and death. That's what they believe. That's what they think. Um, if a Strigoi VU dies, they bury them face down. They stab a stake through their heart. They put garlic around them in their grave because they think that they will rise up and become Strigoi Morte, which means a restless spirit that haunts the town, and they don't want that to happen. So there's a lot of folklore around just me being born into this world. Unfortunately for me.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
That's a lot to have on your
ye-
shoulder just being born.
yes, sir. It is a lot, and um, I don't. I'm 45 years old now. I've attempted to be in normal society with normies, and say it's not working out for me. it yeah, it doesn't work out too well. I mostly stay to myself. Um, so when I was 4 years old, my dad was in the army. He was in Vietnam, and my parents took me to a gateway experience seminar. Now, I'm not sure if this was on a military base or exactly where it was,
They took you
but
there when it was in Vietnam?
no, I'm 45. My dad was ex-military.
Ex-military. Okay.
Yes, sir. Ex-army, E3, in electronics.
So he was in the Vietnam War and then you were born after he was
Yes, I was
done with
born in
that.
1981.
Okay.
Off grid, off grid in 1981. It was there, like a homestead, I guess you would call that now.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So, when I was 4 years old, I met Albert Stubblebine. Albert Stubblebine was supposedly a psychic headhunter, and I met him and two other Army officers that were with him at this Gateway Experience seminar. When I looked it up, they had called it PK parties for psychokinesis or something like this. And he asked me, he like looked down at me, right? It was my time to shine, I guess. My dad put me down right in front of him, and he asked me, "How would you like to help your country?" And I was 4 years old. I wanted to help anybody. Okay, I was an innocent little child, and I would want to help anybody. So I didn't, I was 4 years old, and I said
Wow.
yes,
That's definitely rushing somebody into something beyond their
yes,
maturity level.
yes, yes, sir.
Wow, that's amazing. Was uh Now I've heard of Albert Stubblebine just in the context of he was married to Dr. Rima Lebo, who's quite vocal about the New World Order and all kinds of, United Nations shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. Would you say he was a good guy to work with, or what was the? I mean, I didn't know any of this kind of stuff about him because I never really looked into it, but I've just heard him as he and Dr. Labo were, I guess in the Patriot movement and were warning about all the unfolding world developments of the secret governments and all that.
I'm sure he knew everything because he was like, they were in on Project Looking Glass, and I was part of, me personally, and I know this because of my own memories. I was personally part of Sunstreak, Grill Flame, and Center Lane. I personally, we looked for holy relics, military targets as children. Yes, sir.
So
During
you
gate.
so you were remote viewing at that
Yes.
age?
Yes. They
Oh,
knew
wow.
why I came into this world. They put the folklore to me, and my dad put me right down in front of Albert Stubblebine and Skip Atwater and whoever the other guy was that was with him and said, "Here she is,
Wow.
this one." And yes, sir, I spent 7 years in Gate from kindergarten until sixth grade, 1993. And McMonigal, Joseph McMonigal, remote viewer 001, was the guy that was over the team of children that I was part of. Okay. I was not the oldest. I was not the best, but they made me their leader. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I was.
At four
I
years
was a
old?
leader in remote viewing because I was a call bearer. Call bearers are known from birth to walk between the worlds. That's why we're here. That's what we do. That is our mission. The military even knew it.
Is that what schizophrenia is? I've always wondered about this. When they diagnose somebody with schizophrenia, are they really just tuned into different worlds, different dimensions?
I believe if you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you can put us all in the schizophrenia group, but
Okay.
that's not gonna work.
So it's not accurate then.
No,
Okay. It's
sir,
just something I wondered about
I
if
don't believe that that's accurate.
I was just wondering if this people they diagnose with schizophrenics are people who have these abilities but don't know how to control them or something like that.
Possibly, it is quite possible. Um, this I always knew that I was part of GATE. Okay. I don't know if you know anything about the these people are now like whole groups of them are remembering that they were part of Gate. They remember having headphones on their head and drinking a pink juice and being locked in a closet or this, that, and the other, and listening to tones and this, that, doing Zener cards and putting puzzles together. And there were 3 or 4 or 10 different kinds of Gate. Okay, my sister was in it too. She got advanced um, studies. I'm not sure what she did, but I know what I did in there. We weren't allowed to talk about it. We weren't allowed to talk about it with our parents, not allowed to talk about it with the other students, not allowed to talk about it with the teachers who were supposedly our handlers. So
Do you think that you were bred to be what you are? Like, if your father was in the military, were there projects that preceded this that actually, uh,
I can tell you this, it runs in my family. On my father's side, my great great grandmother was a midwife and a seer in the Appalachians. So it might be in the bloodline.
okay.
My my mother did our genealogy way back before there was 23andMe and them taking your DNA and using it for AI bots or she did it way back in the like early 90s. I remember because she drug us around to libraries after libraries looking for stuff. And she found that actually her family was part of Scottish royalty, and
Hmm.
Mowbray was her last name, and it went all the way back to Scotland in like the 1500s and this, that, and the other. And she said, in our family, we had beheaded people because of heresy against the church. So it might have something to do with that as well.
Okay.
Bloodlines leading to Magdalena.
So they were selecting and looking for people with these qualities. They
Yes.
weren't
And
manufacturing them.
they
Or they were molding you once they
it
found you
yes.
more accurately, I guess. Um,
So when I was 5 and went into kindergarten, um, they hooked me up to Robert Moreau's Gateway tapes. And this is a process that teaches you how to use your abilities, the natural abilities that you may have, may or may not have. And I think it's a 6 weeks process if you do it through the Monroe Institute. Um, I'm not sure how long it took me. I remember they pulled me out of class at least once a week to do this. Um, After I went through Bob Monroe's gateway process, I was told to um, go in the closet where that's where I would be tape recorded, and I was told, tell us whatever you see. So the
What's
gateway process pretty much trains your brain so that they can use you to see targets, to see future past, to see anything. Like a looking glass. That's what I am. I am an oracle, naturally born oracle.
so you're an oracle like they displayed or depicted in the movie what was that? Minority Report?
Um,
Do you
I've
remember that
probably
one?
seen it, but I'm more like the old lady in the stand that you see out in the cornfield, the
Okay.
elderly lady who she just knows things.
Right.
Yeah, I think I relate to that character.
So you don't have to hook yourself up to electrodes and bathe in
No.
a solution or something like that. You
No,
actually
sir,
you can
nothing
just do it
like
at
that.
will. It's
Yes,
just
sir.
who you are.
Yes.
I just have one question about the school aspect of it. Was the
Yeah.
school in on it? Were they forced to
Mhm.
allow you to look
Okay.
for these things? How does a school,
The
or
school
was it a
is
special
called
school?
the school is called South Carroll Special School District in Clarksburg, Tennessee. And from kindergarten to high school, all in one building, and it was about 200 kids. And the only two people that were in gate that I remember was me and my sister. We are both pictured in the 1993 Beta Club National Yearbook, as a matter of fact. And my mom had that yearbook. And I won citizenship awards from 1986, which when I was in kindergarten, to 1993 in the 6th grade, for being part of this project. And they didn't have to take you out of the school; they already had your mind, right? And they could put you wherever they wanted you to be, whenever they wanted you to be there.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So was the school aware of this or was it
Yes.
okay? So the school wasn't set up to be a part of this program. The school was just a
It was
affiliate.
just a little hillbilly school in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Nobody was looking, nobody was asking questions. Um, the teacher that was what people call your handler, she was actually the permanent 4th grade teacher at that school. And I remember her from way back when I was in kindergarten. This lady strapped me to a chair while a man with a frequency machine in a suitcase, okay, this is the 80s, this is gonna be weird, a bulky frequency machine in a suitcase hooked me up to a bunch of electrodes, I'm assuming, okay. Um, they made me drink sodium amytal, and if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It makes you forget, it
Is that
makes you
truth serum?
lucid.
Is that the truth serum?
Okay, well, similar,
Similar. Okay.
very similar. There's like a distinction between that and the actual true serum. You drink this and it makes you forget for a couple of hours, and by the time they send you home from school on like the bus or whatever, you have no idea what happened. You've lost like an hour or two of your entire life, and that was that.
I see. It's so that was to wipe your memory.
Yes, and they permanently wiped us when we were done. This is going to sound weird, but in 1993, um, Here's my memory of it. McMonagall was sitting behind the desk, and there were two what they call spots, which is a warrant officer, but like the lowest warrant officer. He was Chief Warrant Officer Joseph McMonagall. And they were releasing us children. And in my memory, I am surrounded by children that are also in we're strapped to chairs. We are in straight jackets. They had weaponized our minds to be able to move things with our minds, and they were making it clear that they were done with this program and they were letting us go. And in my memory, these children are screaming and hollering, and they are bouncing up and down in their desks. I am too.
Wow.
And one boy is yelling at me, "How can you let this happen? What are we going to do when we get out of here? How are we going to know each other?" Because we were a team. We were a team. We even lost some people doing what we did.
Wow, that's
And
intense.
he said, "You signed up for this. You knew that this was going to happen."
You
Excuse
signed
me?
up for it at 4 years old, huh? At least they consider that
Yes.
to be
Yes,
your
sir.
your contract. You were aware of everything at 4 years old. At least that's what they're claiming.
Yes.
Wow.
And they have not released these documents. They will not release these documents. I have emailed Yuri Geller, who I also tutored under, and he remembers me. He remembers me and called me by my first name. And I didn't write my first name in that email, but he called me by my first name.
Wow.
I've emailed McMonagall, and he will not email me back. I do believe he has tried to attack me through the astral realm, but a call bearer is marked, supposedly marked by God, and we're like untouchable. I mean, God, I sound like an asshole, but I'm generally trying to describe having
Sounds
this
like you're just
much
trying to
like
figure it out.
power.
You piece it together.
Yeah,
So were you supposed
yeah.
to remember all this, or was there
Oh,
techniques of making you forget just
absolutely not.
unsuccessful?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was never supposed to remember this.
All right. So
As
you're
a
kind of a
matter of
thorn in their
fact,
sides then.
when I met Albert, I could be, but I don't want to be. I could be. I could be. Um, when I met Albert Stubblebine, when I was just a little kid, my dad had said something to him, and he said to my father, "She will not remember anything." And I remember him saying that to my dad when I was 4 years old. "She will not remember anything." And it's not just me. Like I said, I've spoken to others, and they won't show their face either. Okay, maybe that's maybe that's just part of it. We're not supposed to be in the public eye. I'm others of us are like me, and they just live out in the woods and let life do whatever they're doing. And we astral travel and remote view at will. Um, as far as I know, like the other ones have never taken a dime. They're not like these big shots you see on TV who are like, "I can tell you about your mother and whatever, your sister. I can talk to your dead people and this, that, and the other." We're not like that. We don't want any part of that. That's like all part of the cabal.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like you're really only interested in getting this information out there. You're not interested in, being a celebrity or
Yes,
anything
sir.
of the sort. So are there, so yeah, have you heard of any other people who
Right.
were in this
Yeah.
program come out and disclose any of this, or are you the only one as far as you know?
Supposedly Eric Hecker, the guy that whistle blew on Antarctica,
Yep, I know Eric
supposedly
Hecker.
he's one of the Stargate people. Yeah, I don't have much to say. Um, Supposedly he's one of us, but I don't recognize, and he came before me. I tried to look up when he got his uh citizenship awards, and it was before it was 82, I think. And that I was like 2 years older, you know, in 82.
Hmm.
So
Wow. So did this go on your
so
entire
anyway,
life, like your whole childhood?
7 years.
7 years.
From kindergarten until 6th grade. Yes, sir. 7 years. I remember Albert Stubblebine wanting to be called Professor Stubblebine, and he used to read out of the Principia, and it was like his baby, an antique. And I even tried to research that he had this book, and he would want us to sit on our hands instead of don't touch his books. Okay. He wanted us to sit on our hands while he taught us. Another memory is Uri Geller, the famous spoon bender. Everybody wants to debunk and call, he's this and he's that. Well, this man taught me um, that everything is illusion, like reality is fluid. And you can make people with the power of suggestion see what they want, say what you want them to say. Uh, Kind of like that video where the lady's sitting behind this other one and she's like speaking the words that are coming out of the other lady's mouth. And it's not like MK ultra weird stuff there. Um, he had me stand in a room and uh, this is besides all the forks and stuff we bent and all the cans we smashed flat. They kept all of those little projects in a desk drawer. They kept all of our little projects, but he had me in a room and there was fire across the whole floor. Okay. And he was like, walk to me. And I wouldn't do it. I saw fire. I felt the heat. I smelled smoke. And all of a sudden he snaps his fingers and it's all gone. Just a stark white room and just me and him in there. Like the fire didn't exist. It wasn't ever hot. There was no smoke. It was crazy. It was
So this is
literally, yeah.
so this
And,
is a form of
and so
hypnosis
they
then.
said that Albert Stubblebine used to watch. Excuse me, what?
Oh, I said this is a form of hypnosis then. It's not he like the spoon bender and all that. They don't really bend the
Yes.
spoon, but they hit or shift people's consciousness how through some however they do it, psychic abilities, I guess. And that is how people experience the magic or whatever.
No, sir. The spoon actually bends.
It
The
does, okay.
spoon actually melts. The spoon actually moves.
Okay.
Yes, it does. The cans actually smashes flat
So it's a form of
because
telekinesis.
children, yes, children were able to do this. Albert Stubblebine used the government's money to go searching for the children that could do this. And the government kept running out of funds for Stargate. They even tried to shut it down right before they found me. And somehow they got enough funding to keep this thing going. So this is just according to my own research. In 1986, they were going downhill and somehow they got the funding. They found me in 1986 or 1985 rather, and they found the funding somehow, some way. But yeah, he believed that you could move the clouds, and he believed this because we showed him how to do it. He believed you could walk through walls because we showed him that he could do it. And everybody after Stargate, they thought he was crazy because he would like literally run into the wall, slam, and hit it, and not be able to recreate what we had showed him.
So that's something you can do?
I believe that you can do anything because you create your own reality. People are so far removed from source that they think that the screen is their reality. They are programmed to believe whatever they want you to believe instead of seeing with your own eyes or hearing with your own ears, or you know paying attention to your own sovereign experience in this realm.
Hmm. Wow. So
So
where did it go after that?
yes,
After
very
19,
interesting.
after you were out of it, it supposedly it morphed into something else, or did it just go? Usually what they do is they don't really shut these down. They just change their names and change it around a little bit and then
Right.
move it somewhere else. Is it still
I got
going on as
out
far as
in
you know?
1993. I got out in 1993, and it supposedly shut down in 96, but the gate program was still going on for the younger children. This is from my own research. The gate program was going on well into the 90s and 2000s. So they're doing it for some reason. They must be still looking for magical people like me, people that the children that I think have advanced learning. Some people say they were even looking for the autistic people. Now, I've been called all kinds of names, including autistic. And I tell you one thing, I'm not autistic. Save that for someone else. It's an insult to call people like me that. And maybe that's what they were trying to do. I'm not sure. I know that my parents were in on it, okay, and I was not allowed to talk to them. Of course, I didn't remember anything. Even my dad gave me a spoon one day and said, "Here, bend this." And I took the spoon and he puts it between my two fingers and says, "Bend it." And like a little asshole teenager, this is after gate, of course, I bent the spoon and gave it back to him. And he got mad and he said, "No, not like that." So yeah, and he used to tell me, he's like, "Your life is like the born identity. One of these days you're gonna wake up and you're gonna remember what happened to you." And I just blew it off. I thought the old man was crazy from being in Vietnam. He was a little off his rocker anyway. You know, who would have their kids in the woods, with no doctors, or and it was me and my sister were born out there in the woods. So she she got the advanced learning side of gate and went on to be like valedictorian, and she went to college and was on the dean's list, and she got her master's in business and yada yada yada. Now she like runs I do believe like it's a chicken feed store in Kentucky, and she has like a normal, what is it, white picket fence life. Me on the other hand, I dropped out of high school when I was 17, right after my 11th grade year. I put myself into Job Corps in Bristol, Tennessee, and I became, within 3 months, I was trade leader of carpentry. I had my GED and a diploma, and I graduated before anybody in my class back home at Clarksburg. And then from there, I moved to North Carolina and I was cooking, and I moved around all over the place. And I've had like off and on relationships, and weird stuff's always happened to me. Like somehow I was living in Texas when that space shuttle flew out of the sky over Nacogdoches. I can't remember the name of that particular space shuttle, but I was there. I saw that in the sky. Um, I see weird things happening. Sometimes I'm like in a particular place at a particular time, and it's a sign, it means something. Just like before I moved up here, in the Gateway tapes, which I had to re-listen to so I could remember all of these things and put them all together like cohesively. uh Ocean waves and seagulls and airplanes. Now, where I live, that's what you hear. You hear ocean waves, seagulls, and airplanes. It's very strange. It's very strange. That's just to say the least. It's very strange.
Wow. So when you're taken as a child at 4 years old and you do this program pretty much as a minor, is there any compensation, like financially? Do they give you a, I don't know, whatever the equivalent of a pension would be, or some kind of for your services, or is it purely they consider it volunteer duties? Because even if you join the military, you get a salary, or do your
So,
parents get the money?
right, right. And I am not sure how all of that went. I never got any money. Last So my dad passed in 2024, and I somehow got $3,000 from that, even though I had not spoken to the man in over 20 years. uh, I did get a Disney World trip on my 10th birthday. Even though my sister was in gate 2, she didn't get the trip on her birthday. They gave the trip to me on my birthday, January. I was out of school for 2 weeks to go to Disney World in Florida. Um, to say the least, my entire class was jealous. They were
Yeah,
totally jealous that I got to go to Disney World, and didn't know how that happened to me, and why that happened to me, and what was why was I so special, and this, that, and the other.
I would imagine that
Supposedly,
I would imagine that
Eric
there was something
Hecker,
there.
the right, supposedly that Eric Hecker got the same trip, the one that said they pipelined him into Stargate as well. He calls it some kind of marker that's how you know you were in it. I don't know. From my personal experience, I can tell you that the teacher, when they gave us Zener cards, which Zener cards, they're like playing cards except they have a symbol on one. They put me in a closet by myself. I do believe the door was locked, and my fourth grade teacher, she would stand outside the door, I assume, and there was another kid older than me across the classroom inside another closet. So I kind of wonder if they built the school to be able to maintain something like this happening, to be able to find special kids like this. They did have like special ed classes and that kind of thing going on. So anyway,
That
this
makes
kid,
sense.
she right, she had them in a separate place, right, with this whole stack of Zener cards and a table, and the kid was in a chair. She opens the door to my closet and takes me by the hand and leads me out. And I think I'm like 5, maybe 6, maybe I was in first grade, and leads me across the classroom. And the kids are clapping, and some of them are saying congratulations. Some of these kids, I can feel them thinking. They are scared. They are afraid of me. They don't know how I'm doing it. She opens the door to this other closet where this kid is with the Zener cards. And the kid turns around and looks at me, and all I can see is fear in his eyes. Now, I remember it's a boy, an older boy. I can see the fear in his eyes because I read every single one of those cards in that whole stack correctly the first time. The first time. And that was the only test with Zener cards that I ever had to take. I took it once and that was it. They knew that somehow I was doing it, and they were pushing me through. They were pushing me through to whatever the government wanted me to do. The guy with the frequency machine that I told you about, he is the same guy that tape recorded me and would get that tape out of the tape recorder right when the session was done. He would write something on it and stick it in his pocket or put it in his briefcase every single time he was there.
What so how exactly do you remote view? It sounds like if they put you in a dark room, it's like meditating or something. Do you just clear out your brain of any thoughts and then your mind jumps to other locations, or is it actually the same thing as astral traveling where your astral body leaves and visits these places?
You, you can do this either way, actually. The gateway process teaches you to do it in a specific way. And the guy tried to tell my teacher that I wasn't getting it fast enough, but I have a different way than Bob Monroe did on the gateway process, and that's all that is. Yes, you can leave your body and go somewhere else. Yes, you can see out other people's eyes. Yes, you can create your own reality. Yeah, I believe it. Everything is possible. So yes, you can. You can do these things. You can see things that you would think that you're not supposed to be able to see. Anybody can do it. Just like Uri Geller said, anybody can do it, but not anybody can do it. So it's how programmed your mind is. How can you unlearn everything? Can you unlearn everything that they taught you to be a fact and just be still? Let the messages come to you. Okay. Let it all come to you and reconnect yourself with collective consciousness. And it's all about awareness, like raising your awareness. They have different focuses, like focus 10. I call it the 10 state. I was in gate so long, I just called it the 10 state. They would put you in 10 state, which is it's a trance. You said it was hypnosis, but yes, it is a trance. I call it trance work. Some people call it clicking out. Um, it's like instead of hard focus, you let go of focus. You just let it go, and you will come into full awareness. And there's like all these levels of awareness. Um, but there's bad things out there too. There's bad things in the astral realm, and Bob Monroe calls it loosh. There, people call them archons, demons. You know, there's names, mouth noise, names for all of these things. So you have to protect yourself. And that's why I'm so heavy into metaphysics, like the crystals, the stones, the symbols, the artwork, um, things like this, tangible things in this world, like herbs that help you. I'm into that kind of thing.
So what kind of assignments did you perform while you were doing these the Stargate project? Did they have you spying on other?
Sir, I can tell you, quite possibly. Espionage? Yes, sir, quite possibly. Um, I don't know if you've heard about it, but they had us in Stargate find a submarine, a Russian submarine. And I personally remember helping find this Russian submarine. I personally, and they say it was Ingo Swan, I personally remember helping find holy relics like oh, the Ark of the Covenant. They wanted to know where that was. They wanted to know where the spirit gates were. They wanted to know where the crystal skulls were. They all kinds of things. They wanted to know where they were, who had them, how can they get their hands on them. And I think because some of these things are meant for really holy spiritual people that the military just couldn't get a grip because they're bad people. And sometimes in this world, bad people aren't allowed to have what they are so greedy for. So, but yes, I do believe that children were involved, me included, in finding holy relics, military targets, people, okay, missing people included, kidnapped people, um, just
Pretty much
just like
anything.
so much.
What are
Yes, anything.
what are the success rates? Is it close to 100%? I'm sure there must be some false viewings or something, or ambiguous ones where you can't exactly
Um,
pinpoint something. Or were you pretty much
well,
a star pupil who scored?
because of the timeline, you had to be in the 98th percentile just to be in gate.
Okay,
At the end of gate, and I don't know if this happens to everybody, but we had a psychologist come, and I knew that he was with the government, and he scored us on our IQ after we left gate, and he did come to our school. I remember his name. He gave me his card. He spoke to my sister first, and she came out of there with a big old smile on her face, you know. And when I went in, I missed one stupid little question. It was the holes in a belt. Like, you know, there's a buckle and there's loops, and there was no holes in this belt. And I missed that. And I recall like staring at this and being like, what am I missing? Because it's all pattern recognition. And he said, it doesn't matter. Your IQ is still above 140. Now, I didn't make complete straight A's in school. Okay. I don't adhere to history. I don't adhere to physics. I don't adhere to false narratives. And now coming out, the physics doesn't physics, the math doesn't math, and geology is not real. So maybe maybe they were right. Maybe it doesn't matter how book smart you are if the book is the program and you're not learning the program, not learning the program they want you to learn, rather.
right. So how much is real that we have been taught in mainstream education? Is anything? I mean, it seems like it's all
Um,
like a big hologram,
I
a projection of some sort.
I would question everything, sir. Question everything. And that's why I told you throw the book at me because I mean, I could take all the lie detectors in the world and apparently lie detectors don't detect lies. So what would be the point? You know, it goes off of your what your emotions, your heart rate, stuff like that. So I could take all of them in the world and it would be like, okay, inconclusive.
Oh,
so,
well, that's true too.
so yeah,
And you could think you could be truthful and it could still be wrong because you might think something that's not true, or you might think something that's not true to be true.
right,
So I never understood the logic of lie detectors
right,
either.
right. All I have, right. All I have is my memories, which came back last year. Uh,
Oh wow. So you didn't have those
I
memories
was
for a
watching
long
this
time.
video on YouTube. Right, right. I like now some of the memories I had and some of them I did not. Like me meeting Albert Stubblebine when I was 4 years old, that memory was stuck in the back of my brain for like the last 40 years. I knew that it had happened. Okay. I could not explain why I met a military person. I could not explain what I was doing there. I could not explain why I remembered coming out of a closet and the kids were clapping at me getting some cards right. I could not explain why I won citizenship awards. I could not explain the Disney World trip. I could not explain um, what going into the closet was. I couldn't explain that they made me drink sodium amytal. I didn't even know what it was called until last year. I remembered that it was pink. Um, I couldn't explain the gateway process until last year. I couldn't explain how I knew that binaural beats work on human bodies. I could not explain why I was in gate for 7 years until last year. I knew that I was in gate for 7 years. I knew that I won citizenship awards all this time, and I knew that it started with meeting that military guy who turned out to be Albert Stubblebine. Everything else came back when I started to re-listen to all the gateway experience process tapes again. I call them the gateway tapes because in the 80s they were tapes. You know, if you're a part of the 80s, you know everything was on a tape. That's that's when they went from LPs to cassettes. So, um these if you go through the process, which anybody can do it, watch out cuz some people want to charge you money. You can teach yourself how to astral project. You can teach yourself how to be a remote viewer. That's what it was set up for. Um, Bob Monroe worked with the CIA to make this happen, and I've even been in touch with the guy Roger Mannon. Okay, he was part of this before my time, like a year, a year difference. He was at the Monroe Institute to me being put in GATE program, just 1 year. And I did not know him. My dad tried to get me to be like, do you recognize this with Albert Stubblebine? I didn't even recognize Albert Stubblebine at that time. I said, no, I don't recognize him. And I was like maybe 13 or 14 at this time. I don't recognize this guy. I don't recognize Uri Geller. I don't, I had all these, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who this is. And it was on purpose. It was all on purpose. They meant to do this. They meant to wipe your memory because they were afraid. They're afraid of people like us. Maybe because we know too much. We know enough that will topple the system, and that's not a good thing for them, you know? So, Of course they had to wipe us. Of course they did. They had to save their own hides.
But it doesn't sound like the wiping really works very successfully if you started having a flood of memories and then you could all start piecing them together and all that.
Right. The thing is, I'm not the only one that woke up last year. There's a whole flood of us.
So it was
So
like a mass
was it
awakening
planned?
kind of
Was it
thing.
pre-programmed? Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Exactly like that.
So apparently their
And
methodologies have
I'm
an
not on it
expiration date.
anymore because it changed hands. I'm not on TikTok anymore because it changed hands, and as soon right before it did, I got out of there. Um, but yes, on TikTok, YouTube, Clapper, all kinds of everywhere, Facebook, everywhere. There's all these my age, older, younger people. Some of them are influencers, some of them are not. They're all like, I remember this happening, I remember the center cards, I remember this, I remember. And I just, I mean, you got to sort through it, of course, use your discernment, because not all of them are like me, and I understand this. Most of them, they went into the gate program because they were higher than average children, they were probably top of their class, and they got, advanced learning techniques through the same programs that I went through, the gateway tapes and the frequency stuff and the electrodes. But they knew what I was, they knew what they were going to use me for, and that's exactly what they did. So my story is probably going to be very different from most gate kids, and that's okay. That's okay.
So the it looks like the project was declassified in 1995 and then certain documents released. And apparently some of those were the inspiration for that movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, I've heard of that. And long before they came out with The Men That Stare at Goats, there was this movie called Scanners. I don't know if you remember Scanners,
I do
but
vaguely.
if you
Long time
stared at
ago,
it, it
though.
was a movie about like these people. They stared at people and their heads would explode.
Uh,
I know that's not funny, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. But that's very similar to The Men That Stare at Goats. It's very
yeah,
similar.
that goes back to 1981, so that's an old movie.
Yes. Yes, it's very old, and that's what my dad thought of me long before The Men That Stare at Goats, long before that ever came out. That's what he
Okay.
thought about me. That I that I would stare at you in your head. no, no, I to have a lot of power takes a lot of responsibility, and I understood the assignment. I understood the assignment so well that I let myself forget for 40 years until snap, something inside of me said, wait a minute, we are one of these people. We have memories of this happening to us. So um, I held it in for long enough. I researched myself. I researched the Stargate declassified documents. I researched Gate being part of the CIA. I have researched everything in my life because I'm one of those that questions everything. So here I am, just trying to get some information out there that if this happened to you as well, please. I'm out here, gate kids waking up at Google at gmail.com. They can come and talk to me if they want to, or, message me, or, call me names. I don't care.
Is that a real thing though? Can they were they training psychic warriors to like have opponents' heads blow up and stuff like that? Is that like kind of scanners? Was that like an accurate
Um,
representation of what they're actually doing in these clandestine behind the scenes programs?
you know what, Mike? I would not put it past the US government to do anything. Would
Neither would
you?
I. If they can do it, I'm just wondering if they succeeded in harnessing the power of people like the psychics who have these abilities and corrupt it for their own purposes.
They weaponized me and my whole team. They weaponized whole groups of children. They weaponized us to make us do whatever they wanted, which, like, I have 7 years of missing memories, so I cannot tell you what they had us do because I only remember maybe 20%, maybe 10.
So they probably had you not only be a remote viewer, but a remote influencer. Because I've heard you can use these same powers to remotely influence somebody into behaving a certain way or or whatever.
The only way I want to influence anybody is to do good. Just do good, just be a good person, okay? I know none of us are perfect, and I can speak from experience that I am not perfect. I am not a perfect person. I am just walking around on this dirt clod like everybody else. But please just do good, okay? Be kind. You really don't know some of the stuff that has happened to people, including myself. You just don't know.
Does does the
So, but yes, they did. They did do that. They did put thoughts in people's mind. They still do it. they they are continuously doing this.
so with the Epstein files being released like within the last 2 weeks and all this satanic pedophilia and all that kind of stuff that is being revealed now, it makes I'm sure everybody will be wondering if those practices were part of these kind of programs too. Were children tortured or or sexually abused in any way for them to enhance their powers?
This is actually part of the program. Most of the people I have spoken to, including myself, do have SA in their background. Um, some of them, they think it was the military that did it. Some of them, it was their own parents. Some of them, it was a older brother, sibling, cousin. But most all of them that I have spoken to have SA in their background. So I'm going to assume that this has something to do with a form of control. Um, as an adult to have control over a child.
Wow. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it was all intertwined somehow, because a lot of these things do work together to achieve a greater goal. So are you totally out of this now?
Indeed.
Are you like
Um,
living your happily ever after life yet?
I love my life, Mike. I really do love my life. But like I said, by your thoughts, so shall you live. Okay. And your thoughts and your mindset really do matter in this world. And I live with gratitude, attitude. And I am at peace, but it took a lot of hard work for me to get here. Um, I do love my life. I just wanted to tell my story. And I am writing a book. Like I said, I am like in the editing stages of it. It's a real pain in the keister. But
When will that be
I'm
out?
waiting on a number from the Library of Congress because if anybody needs a book, the Library of Congress needs a book.
For
You were
sure.
talking about the e-files and how that was going. And I guess if you want my hot take on it, I already knew. Okay, some of these women have been screaming into the void for 20 something years and no one was listening. Kind of like a conspiracy theorist who is screaming into the void, hey, this isn't right. This isn't this, and this is. We've been screaming into the void for so many years that it's about time that people are listening. It's about time.
For
I
sure.
am happy to just sit here and drink my tea and watch it all blow up. I
Here, here.
yes.
Well, I think
Yes,
we all
if it
share that
has to
sentiment.
yes, if it has to collapse the system so we can rebuild the correct one, wouldn't you rather have that than whatever the hell it is that's going on right now and has gone on like right under everybody's nose this whole time?
It
I
seems
know
like
that I would.
it seems like the only way for anything to change is to do just that, to blow up the system and start over because it's honestly corrupt. It's rotten. It's just beyond repair.
Right, it is. And that
And
and that
never
that
really served any of us anyway as a
right,
whole.
because it's a system. It's a system. They have trapped you in a system. It's
Correct.
either the education system or it's an institutional system or it's a system and it only works if they control it. So, yeah, I don't care about money. I don't care about riches and fame. I think that draws you away from source. I honestly do. And the further away you get drawn from source, it's like they do anything that will make you think that you are an all-star and this and that, but it's all false light stuff to me. It's all just flim flam. It doesn't matter. Okay, you birthed out of this world with nothing. Okay, you have to unlearn everything that they taught you. And I've been saying this, screaming into the void. You have to unlearn everything just so you can have your own experience. That's why you're here. We are all part of something so much bigger, so much more awesome than and we all have the power to remote view. We all have the power to astral travel. We all have this power. It's not witchcraft like some people think. It's not woo woo. You know, it's people don't understand quantum physics. They do not understand quantum mechanics. So they have to make fun of people like us because they can't understand. They can't fathom. They can't wrap their mind around things. Reality is only tangible by your own thoughts. Your thoughts create the tangible parts of reality. And I will give you several examples. Okay, I live in a tiny house, and we built this place ourselves. We we studied tiny houses for years. We had like built a couple, off on the side in different areas. And I was always like, oh, that would be so cool to live in a tiny house. Well, guess what? Here I am. So, that's just one example. Here I am, you know. Um, so you can create it. I want everybody to think that you know you whatever you dream of, it is possible. It is. Okay, these foul people out here tell you that it's impossible, it's not going to happen. They're tearing you down, they're making you tear yourself down. They're trying to tear down the collective consciousness and you just can't. It's so divine. It's so divine. I mouth noises. mouth noises.
Well,
Even even the greatest of people like Alan Watts or Carl Jung, even they ran out of words trying to describe what they wanted people to know, and they were great speakers.
language is definitely very limiting.
Yes, yes,
It
that,
it it
yes,
goes way beyond language. Uh,
yes. I think the multiverse. I think these realms speak in symbols.
right.
And I think that it's more symbols than people say it's math, but sometimes the math doesn't math. But the symbols speak volumes, right? There's always, it's like an onion, and there's layers and layers and layers and layers, and you never really get to the center of it. So
Well, I've always seen it as the math is like the abstract coding of the program, and the symbols are like the artistic part of it, that relates to our emotional responses. Because math is not very emotional. It's like it's hard to get excited about sine waves and cosine and calculus problems.
right,
But
right,
wow,
right. One thing I didn't mention here is hemisync. Hemisync technology is what they used on the children.
what kind?
And if you don't know what hemisync is, it's where they sync both parts of your brain
Oh, like
to make it to where you
I see.
can
Sync
actually leave your body.
Syncing your hemispheres together creates psychic attunement, right?
I guess even
Is
if you're not inclined to be psychic, I do believe it works.
is that the where the binaural beats come from? Or they're used for achieving that?
Yes,
Okay. I've heard about that before.
yes,
So using the binaural beats and
yes. And
the Monroe Institute, the Monroe Institute
right,
tech
through the years, I
techniques.
always knew that binaural beats would work. Yes. Yes,
Okay, great.
he used hemisync technology.
Do you think any of these people are
He
gonna
used hemisync.
do you think any of these people who were running these programs will be outed anytime soon for, I don't know, crimes against humanity or any of the such? Do you think they were on Epstein Island, or
Okay, well,
I mean, this is
no,
speculative, of course.
most of them have passed away.
Okay,
Most of them have passed away or are like so old now they won't. Yuri Geller, he's in his 80s and he lives over there in Israel. Okay, I contacted him and told him, "Hey, I wrote about you in my book. um, I remember you such and such, this, that, and the other." And the guy is trying to sell me tickets to his museum, like I'm gonna go to Israel and visit him. And I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. But I just want to make sure I don't get sued. And he was like, oh, it looks great. Sends me a little heart, And then he calls me by my first name. And I haven't used my first name in 26 years. Okay. And since I was like 17, 18 years old. And so I know that he remembers me, but he's not going to say anything. And the rest of them are exactly the same. Stubblebine passed away in 2017. Um, who's the other one? There's another one that passed away too. And like I said, they're all old now. They're not. What am I going to do to them?
right.
There are class action lawsuits to bring out these papers. Even Art Bell back in the day was like, this page 25 from Stargate is BS and we want the real files. And they still haven't released those. Some people said that they have been destroyed or buried or So I'm sure that my name and some of the people that I speak to, their names are in these files somewhere. They tape recorded me. Okay. Somewhere there has to be these tapes, unless they've been destroyed. Where are all these tapes of me talking, telling them what I see, what I was remote viewing? It got to the point where it was just like, are you ready? And they would give me the sodium amytal. I would go in the closet and I would be tape recorded. And I don't remember what I said. I I remember them coming to get the tape and I was done. I'd go back to class. This happened to me so many times that in my class there was a new kid. She was probably there 2 or 3 weeks, and she asked me one day, she was like, why are you never at recess? And I'm like, I don't know, I have to finish my assignments. Well, she called me a liar and went to the teacher that so happened to be my handler. And
Wow.
I got in trouble, and my teacher calls me up there. She's like, why did you lie? And I told her, well, I wasn't supposed to tell because I was, and the teacher didn't do anything to me. She didn't do anything to me. She dropped the whole subject and we went on about our day. And that happened in fourth grade. And it was just a new kid asking me why I wasn't in class or why I wasn't at recess. And if you're
Wow.
at gate, you can't talk about gate. So
So is the Stargate like the movie that everybody remembers about the portals? Is that related to this one in any way, or is it just the name that's the same?
I would start relating anything called Stargate or Gate to each other like the cogs of a machine.
So they
Okay.
worked in tandem together.
There is something going on with Project Looking Glass, all these gateways, spirit portals, and stuff like that. They're all connected. It's all connected. How it's connected, I have not figured out yet. I'm still working on that. Um, But even I remember my dad showing me the Stargate movie when it first came out, and you're like, "Well, here, look at this. Does any of this ring a bell?" He would show me like he would show me things that he knew that I was supposed to remember that I didn't remember, and ask me questions. Do you remember this? Do you remember? Do you know about this? And I would tell him every single time I don't know what he's talking about, and I'd roll my eyes, and I didn't remember because they drugged me. They made me not remember, and at the end, they wiped us all, the whole team of children that were used in. We met, I'm not going to believe this, in the astral realms in classrooms. And I remember this phrase, well, once a week we shall meet. Once a week we shall meet. Okay. And like you said, it's all like hypnosis. Well, Uri Geller would say things in my ear, and then he would stand back and he would be like, for later. Like that you're not supposed to know about what I just did, but one of these days you're for later. So what was that? I still don't know. I'm 45 years old and I still don't know.
So when is your book going to be out?
I'm pushing for June just because I listen to a lot of astrologers, and today is the 0 degrees of Aries world point. I don't know if you know anything about astrology, but it's supposed to be a jump point. So action,
Today? Today
right?
is?
Yes, sir. This is the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. No,
Wow.
Saturn and Neptune is today.
Maybe
At
that's why I'm
0
feeling so strange today. I feel weird today. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm like off, like I don't know, like dizzy, and I don't know why. I'm just like, wow, what's going on today? I
Yeah, yeah, people are gonna feel that. I ground myself every day. I transmute energy every day. I walk 5 miles every day. I try to do some Tai Chi. I try to do some stretching. I try to ground myself and center myself because, it's easy to just fly off the rails right now. Look at all the crap that is
Uh,
going on. So,
it's like a hurricane of events. It's like impossible to keep up with it all. And
yes,
you could
yes,
easily get sucked into that if you let yourself. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm just like, okay, that's nice, but I don't want to jump into it too much. It's like it's not really useful to do so.
right.
So,
Yes, yes, it is like for people like me, um, my best advice to anybody is to learn how to quantum jump. That is my best advice to anybody out there. Learn how to quantum jump. Like I said again and again, your thoughts create your reality. So if you put all that garbage in your mind and then you're like looking at it all the time, what do you think's going to come out of that?
so
More
true.
garbage, more garbage. So yeah, back away, know that it is there, sit with it because we're all going to have to sit with it. I mean, this is gruesome. This is it's bad.
It is a fine line because you do have to learn about it just enough so that you can be the change, you know?
Yes.
Because if you're not aware of it, if you just ignore it, then you're allowing it to go on. So it's a really tight, it's like a tightrope act to actually acknowledge it without becoming overwhelmed and consumed by it, which a lot of researchers make the mistake of doing, I've noticed.
Yes, and yes, you are so correct. You are so correct. And they go off the rails just
They go
talking
off the
about it.
rails.
Yeah, they go way off the rails talking about it and discussing it and and it's not just that one thing. Then they get latched onto another thing and then they latch onto another thing and it's like your brain has no time to be
Yep.
just be and breathe air and drink water and
I
go outside and see the sunshine, and I worry. I worry for those people.
Well, I've kind of fallen into that rabbit hole myself until you just get to the point where, okay, you're gonna go crazy or whatever if you keep going down that. So it's like, okay, breaks.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
about it. That's all I need to forget about it now for a little while. Get my
Right.
bearings.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. Is there anything you want to add to finish up this interview? Maybe I
Um
could have you on again once you have the book out.
yes, I would love that actually. Like I said, I'm shooting for June. Um
Coming right
the
up.
Right. I'm shooting for June. I've written it, uh I'm in the editing process. I It's not going to be perfect because I've never published anything, having to do with definitely not this stuff. But
Well, it's not about writing the next great American novel. It's about releasing information that needs to be known.
right,
And
right.
you
That's
have a special experience that very few people have even heard of, much less can relate to at any level. So, yeah, these things need to come out. And thank you
right.
for sharing with me today because this stuff's
Certainly.
fascinating.
My pleasure and I appreciate you just letting me rattle on. I appreciate it. This is the first, like I said, this is the first time I've even attempted to talk out loud to anybody besides like my significant other who I've been with for 10 years. Like nobody else, not even my kids know about this.
Wow.
Yes, and they're fully grown, in their 20s. They don't even know that this happened to me.
Well, they if they watch a lot of this kind of stuff on BitChute and Rumble, they should know about it really soon then.
Yeah, yeah, true. Um, but yeah, yeah, I want the information out there because it's not just me. There is other people that have very similar to the same experiences as I do. Maybe not all of them had gate for 7 years, maybe not all of them won citizenship awards for 7 years. A citizenship award is only awarded to the leaders of the community.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So, and maybe they didn't get a Disney World trip, but if they remember any parts of Gate, I implore them, if they want to remember who they are, they have to go through this gateway process again. And some of them have attempted it and they just can't. It makes their stomach roll. Like from the very first tones that you hear in the very first wave tape, they can't stomach it. And I understand because it did the same thing to me, but I forced myself to re listen to all of these things. And I just want my story to help others. I don't want to be out here sounding like a crazy lady. I just want to help other people. I don't need
Well,
to show my face for that. I don't, it's not about me or my face. It's about the story and like what the military and the government did to their own children. It's been going on since the 50s.
or before, I would imagine even the 40s,
Yeah. Yeah, but they came out.
at least the
There was
50s.
a there was a newspaper clipping in 1953, and you know who was in office in 1953? Eisenhower, and you probably know about all of that. Eisenhower with the Greys and the contract.
Certainly.
Yeah. Well, he said that the children are the greatest untapped resource in America. So you know what they did? You know what they were looking for.
And
So,
they did it.
yes, they did.
Um, yeah. Oh, I was going to just ask you something, and I just had a thought derailment there. Oh, well, it's really important because as we all know now, everything's compartmentalized. The pyramid structure with the all-seeing eye is the only small body that can see the entire structure, and all the cogs in the system are totally unaware of what the other cogs are doing. So by you sharing this information, hopefully you'll inspire others to do the same so that we can piece together how they've constructed this pyramid of control for, I don't know, since ancient Babylon, however long they've been working at this. But they've certainly gotten it to a very sophisticated structure just at the time when it seems like their days are numbered and that it's all going to come crumbling down.
Right. Right. And it is crashing down around them right now. And even the people that know about Project Looking Glass and how far they went into that and they just kept getting the same result, kept getting the same result. Now, do you think that's why they're all panicking now?
I would think that might have something to do with it. I've always heard that they could only see so far into the future with that before it just kind of went blank. And they they don't know how to deal with that, and they haven't figured out a way to deal with that. And here we are where that cosmic transition is taking place where it's every suddenly they don't have all the power anymore. So
Right.
it
Right, exactly. And it's not going to be good for them. And it may not be good for a lot of us. But I hope everybody can just hang in there because people like me are here. We are here and we helped once before and we might have been helping the wrong people, but this time we are not here to help the wrong people.
well, now you're an adult and you can make up your own decisions about how to harness the gifts that you were given without the corruption that, and the innocence of a 4-year-old. So thank
I
God for
have fully I am fully aware and have fully um accepted my gifts and I continue to use them and have used them over the years for good. Um I I can astral travel at will, so at night when you sleep, I do not. I do not sleep. I am what they call a psychic first responder. and we go where we are told to go. Now, you can call this mind control or the government's got you, whatever, doing. It doesn't matter if in the other places I am helping pass out food, or if I am watching little children, or if I am burying the dead. Okay. And all of these things have happened when I astral travel. Wherever they need me is where I will be. And you have to believe that there are people like me that were put here that are like the Benandante of the 1600s, the good walkers.
Hmm.
Okay. The witches for God. That's who we are. That's what we came here to do. That's who we're going to be. It doesn't matter if the military wants to use us or not. Who we are is who we're going to be. And it's not just me. I'm not the only one. You guys have what you call light workers and star children and indigo people. I would be closest to what a Benandante was. So that, I mean, if you're going to stick me in any kind of category, that would be the one that I'd want to be stuck in. The witches for God. Now they came in, the Romans came in, and they were like, no, 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 no. Roman Inquisition was like, no, you're still doing witchcraft. We're not having it, and they broke them up. But I would claim being a Benandante, a good walker, before I claim anything else. And I call myself an oracle because I can see. I have the second sight. I know I have this. I know that I can hear people's thoughts. I know that I can see out of people's eyes. I know that I can remote view. I tend not to go into crowds. I tend to put on the full armor of God, so they say, okay, before I even leave my house. This world is a dangerous place. And especially for those who cannot see that their energy is being leached, that they are being used psychically, that they are being attacked psychically. So I don't want to be a bad person in this world. This world is full of bad people. I just want to get my story out there, and I appreciate you so much for letting me, like I said, letting me rattle. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And by the way, Witches for God would make a great all-girl band name if you ever want to join a rock band or something. So,
Yeah.
well, Leah,
Yeah.
I hope you come back when your book is out and we can talk about your book.
Yes, yes, we will. We will. It's short and to the point. I mean, it does rattle a little bit, but it, I tried to make it cohesive enough for people to understand. So,
Awesome. That's what's needed instead of convoluted and long-winded these days. We need
right, and
succinct and
right,
to the point.
right, rice. Yes, I don't like when people get on there and then they just beat around the bush and they never really get to the story. I
Yes.
want to get to the story, and that's why I was like, throw the book at me. So I'm glad I got to. Thank you.
Well, I threw as much of the book as I could, having little or no experience with this subject. So hope I did okay.
You, you did great, I guess. I hope I did okay.
Well, it is what it is. I was fascinated, and I'm sure anybody listening will be too. So, well, anyway, thank you for joining me, and be sure to send me your any info you want me to add on to the bottom of the video, your contact info, website, anything that you may have, because I don't think I have that yet. But
Okay.
thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And please join me next time on High Vibe TV. Bye.